Welcome back, everybody, to Tuesday Night Hype number 60. I'm Bloody, and this is Brady. How you doing?
Doing well, and I'm excited to see the games today between Void and Back in Black.
Definitely, I'm so pumped. Void is going to bring Shaman, Paladin, Druid. The reason I'm pumped is that his Freeze Mage is banned. And Back in Black is going to bring his Warlock, Shaman, and Paladin. And Back in Black's Druid is banned. So the difference in their matchup, I guess, is just between what? It's Mage and Warlock, right?
Druid and Warlock. Void has a Druid and Back in Black. Oh, you mean overall?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, I guess Void is playing the more... It's basically Back in Black is playing the classic, like, Ray lineup, and then Void is playing, I guess, Freeze Mage in addition to that, taking out the Warlock.
Yeah.
This is going to be a pretty good matchup, though. I mean, Back in Black, I'm assuming he has Zulok, so that matches well with Druid, and then Shaman and Paladin is just about equal. So, at a glance, I'd say Back in Black seems a little favored. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree because Void's Druid doesn't really have any great matchups, especially because just all of the decks that Druid usually does well against, which are like the slowish decks, Void just doesn't have any of those to try to snipe out.
Yeah. It's a little unfortunate because I find myself often going into a tournament and feeling really confident with all my decks except Druid. Like, I'm fine starting with everything else and winning with everything else and being up 2-0, and I'm like, okay, can I get 1 out of 3 wins with my Druid, or can't I? And that, like, decides the match, basically.
Yeah, I've definitely had that feeling before because while Druid can be super strong, it can just draw completely dead also.
Yeah, same with Priest, but that's my own fault for bringing Priest to tournaments. Alrighty, jumping into the match here, we have Void playing his Aggro Shaman versus Back in Black's Secret Paladin, it seems. I don't think anyone's running too many other variations of Paladin.
Yeah, and we see a really strong hand from Void here. Starting with the Totem Golem into the Abusive Strike. And then Back in Black has a decent hand also, but it's just a little bit slower than Void's. And this is kind of the problem. This is kind of why people say that Aggro Shaman is favored in this matchup, because they just have, like, if they can get a Tunnel Trog or a Totem Golem out early, they're just a little bit too fast for the Secret Paladin a lot of the time.
I definitely agree, because that 3 or 4 health is just really hard to take down as a Paladin early on without completely trading your stuff away. I mean, Back in Black can throw down a Juggler, he can throw down a Coghammer. Coghammer will slow down Void a little bit. But ultimately, he doesn't have way too much he can do and feel happy with doing.
Yeah, but I think this play from Back in Black is very strong because it just isolates the Totem Golem into the Noble Sacrifice. So it just blocks the face damage, and if Void can only get in 5 damage with minions this turn, or this for like the rest of the game, then Back in Black is going to be pretty comfortable because this turn Void doesn't have an extremely strong play. Because his only minion that he can develop this turn is the Tunnel Trog.
Yeah, and it kind of feels bad just throwing down an Ancestral Knowledge for the sake of Overload, but at the same time, see, it's touchy, because as Void, I would probably want to be able to play Ancestral Knowledge and then just Lava Shock the Knife Juggler, but he doesn't really have that perfect curve that he would have liked. It was also a little unfortunate, just to mention before, that Back in Black did not get a single juggle on the Totem Golem, because that thing would have been gone by now, but it could be trading away, I suppose, or just juggled down.
It's not the worst, since it's just 1/1 that he has to sacrifice, but here you see Void, he swung with the Totem Golem first, which might seem like a misplay, but he was just trying to test for the Avenge, because if it was Avenged, then swinging with the Totem Golem would make a lot of sense, because he would then, instead of using the Lava Shock, he would just Earth Shock one of the 1/1s and play the Tunnel Trog. So even though it looks bad, I think it does. His ordering did make sense there.
Yeah, no, it made sense there, and it was very smart of him to not disrespect the Knife Juggler. I know a lot of people do that, especially to Paladin, and it really comes back to bite them.
Yeah, Knife Juggler is like, it's a 3/2 minion, but in reality, it's like almost a 6/2.
Yeah, it's like, especially in Paladin, where he has so many little tokens and whatnot.
And Void here decides to draw because he thinks that just toteming and going into the Doomhammer turn just in the next turn is a little bit too slow. But he doesn't pick up any minions, so next turn he might just have to pass, and he pretty much just delay the inevitable in that situation because he's going to have to pass a turn. And you always want to develop Doomhammer as early as possible, but because he drew into nothing to do this turn, he's just going to have to throw a spell at BackInBlack's face or something like that.
Yeah, essentially now he's just... I mean, last turn, it kind of seemed like he was passing the turn. Like, he didn't do anything, really. And this turn, he's, like, actually basically going to pass another turn. I think you're definitely right. You really want to get those Doomhammer swings and try to kill him as soon as possible. Especially, I mean, we know that there's no mysterious challenger. Void doesn't know, but he finds it slightly unlikely.
In this situation, Coghammer is... It's almost... Or it's not, like, as good as Mysterious Challenger, but it's really, really strong because it blocks the Doomhammer that Void wants to develop because he's going to have to swing twice into the Divine Shield and then into whatever else.
Yeah, and oh geez, oh he's using his Earth Shock. Okay, you're absolutely right then.
So bad.
He's going to have to do that. Ooh, and Blessing of Kings is just going to be adding an insult to injury.
I think that's better than Coghammer here because you want to push your damage and develop your board before you build up the defense. Because if you try to go defensive early on without enough pressure on the aggro shaman, then it doesn't work out as well as if you put the pressure on and then you go defensive afterwards.
Yeah, because at that point, aggro shaman can just win. Ooh, alright, so he goes to the Coghammer. Not necessarily the worst play. I can see where he's coming from, because, you know, Earth Shock was just played, and aggro shaman typically, well, actually almost always just runs one, so I guess BackInBlack feels safe enough to even throw the kings on this Divine Shield if it lives. If it's
but I think that the Haunted Creeper might have even been the best target for the king or for the Coghammer because he's forcing the two juggles to come out here. Or I guess he doesn't get the juggles, but he's forcing the redemption also, and the Haunted Creeper is definitely the best target for the redemption. And I guess
either that or the Knife Juggler himself.
Yeah. But the idea behind the Coghammer definitely still makes sense because you're trying to make the Doomhammer from the Shaman as awkward as possible, and it definitely works out here.
Definitely, I agree. And that Tyrion top deck is just monumental. I mean, if there was ever a chance...
Dead before Tyrion.
Yeah, I know, but if there was ever a chance that Void had, it is gone.
Definitely.
I mean, I play Elemental... What is that card? Elemental Destruction? I play that. Actually, Tim, or Shizm, the caster was just up, he was just watching the game and he was like, hey, bro, throw an Elemental Destruction in there. I love it. And I was like, okay. And actually, it's really funny in those situations, especially against Paladin where they have very little damage in hand, you're really low health. If you just clear out that board, it can work pretty well.
Elemental Destruction makes some of the worst matchups a little bit better. Like, it makes the Zoo matchup exponentially better. Yeah. And it helps the Paladin matchup a decent amount. But against something like a Reno Lock, or sometimes even against Druid, it just feels really awkward because they have so many minions that are just a little bit out of range.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, it just sits there. And I cry every time.
The reverse matchup this time around.
Yeah.
With Void this time on the Paladin and BackInBlack now on the Shaman.
Well, Void figures what are the odds that Seeker Paladin loses to Shaman twice, right? And then on the other side, BackInBlack says, well, this just worked. It should work again.
But looking at the two hands, well, that's such an interesting keep from Void. He tossed away the competitive spirit and the other secret, which makes some sense, but he kept the Coghammer. And I've thought about this a lot because I've played my fair share of Secret Paladin and Aggro Shaman, and I've played this matchup a good amount, and keeping the Coghammer I've never liked that much because it's good later on, but you need a 2-drop. And this is the awkward situation where...
Even looking back at this game, it was like he played at turn 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like just looking at the situation, Void is just going to fall behind because he doesn't have the 2-drop. And having a Coghammer on a 1/1, I really don't think is going to be strong enough. And BackInBlack has the really strong hand this time around.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely like having something with 3 mana, I guess. But you would have felt like Void would have felt a lot better if that turned into a mini-bot, or even a Belcher. I mean, I might prefer a Belcher because you know, the knife juggler and the muster for battle shows up, so you could like turn 4 Belcher.
But in this situation, Void's just already super far behind because no matter what play he makes, he doesn't make he doesn't make a ton of progress on the board. And BackInBlack just has a pretty strong follow-up with the Argent Horse Rider. And if Void played the Knife Juggler there, he would have just been blown out. Oh, wow.
Oh
Top
my
deck-
gosh. They just say, well
Well,
played. They
yeah.
exchange their greetings.
Yeah, and I think this is the 100% best possible opening
Yeah.
for Aggro Shaman.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's... I guess you could say Whirling Zap-O-Matic is better than Flame Juggler, but this is still like as good as it gets for
Yeah,
Aggro
honestly,
Shaman.
just being able to play Trog and uncontested, like, and not have it die, play a 2-drop minion, and then Feral Spirit, it's crazy good.
Yeah, Trog into anything that's not Totem into Feral Spirits is just crazy.
Definitely. Yeah, I didn't specify not totem. That's important.
Yeah.
This is not the best curve when you just hero power turn 2.
But it's not even that bad when you Hero Power turn 2.
No, it's not terrible.
Void is... He made an interesting trade running a 1-1 into one of the 2-3s when he couldn't finish it off. And he's trying to bluff a Consecrate, I guess.
I think so. That's my only thought.
I guess he's trying to force trades out by bluffing the Consecrate, but I'm not sure what that exactly does for him, because BackInBlack can just trade with everything, and then Void is just... Void can't make any progress because he doesn't actually have the Consecrate. I guess he's setting up for a Consecrate top deck.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's a chance that Void is sitting there thinking, hey, if I don't top deck Consecrate, I don't win anyways. Might as well prep for it.
And he might be right. He might be right.
Yeah. So, what do you think of this decision to play the Leper Gnome? It definitely pushes damage, which is great, but at the same time, I might have taken my chance at like 4 or 3 healing.
Oh, that's true.
This is
Well, that's true because he just made the Consecrate show.
Yeah,
That's worth thinking about.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, the Leper Gnome is a sure thing, but I would have felt really cool if that healing totem
Yeah.
got thrown down.
Okay, I like going face with at least a 2-2 because I think if he... I wouldn't have liked double trading because even if he Consecrates, I don't think you care that much about a 1-1. And he gets punished a little bit here for leaving the 1-1 up, but I still think that's the correct line because this... Like, even if he Cog Hammers, you're really not worried about that as BackInBlack.
I think maybe there's a slight chance that BackInBlack was thinking, hey, if he has a Blessing of Kings, I'd rather it happen now while I can manage it. I don't know.
That's true.
Like, from that specific point of view, I would actually just trade it off so it wouldn't happen. But
Wow.
oh my golly gee. Okay, that's another...
You still Doomhammer though, right?
Hmm?
You still Doomhammer over the Pharaoh, right? Just...
I'm...
Okay, he's just gonna make all the attacks that he knows he's gonna do first.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because...
Okay, well,
Oh.
clearly Doomhammer was the right play because BackInBlack got the win. Alrighty, so they are tied 1-1.
Wow.
Well, actually, it's 2-0. The Aggro Shaman
it's
has
2-0.
beat Secret Paladin 2-0.
BackInBlack won the matchup from both sides. He won the Secret Paladin against Aggro Shaman, and then he won the Aggro Shaman against the Secret Paladin.
Yeah.
So all he has left now is his Zoo Warlock. I'm guessing it's a Zoo Warlock.
I would guess as well. Oh, man.
And he...
That's...
Well, it doesn't matter, right? Void has to win with every deck anyways, and it is a Zoo.
And he does have an MCT to
Okay, so that helps Void a lot.
Yeah. Alrighty.
So as BackInBlack, I'm wondering how many of the Abusive Sergeants that he's going to keep.
I would keep...
I
I might not want to keep either.
Yeah,
Because, like, you would just Flame Imp and then you would coin Imp Gang Boss, right?
yeah, but
They're good to
Abusive
have.
Sergeant is, like, it's just one of the best decks in the... Or one of the best cards in the Zoo deck, because you have a lot of cards that individually aren't that good, like the Haunted Creeper and the Nerubian Egg, but with the Abusive Sergeant, their value just increases exponentially.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Just like that Haunted Creeper that just happened. Would you have possibly thrown down the Creeper so you can Abusive it? Or are you going to use that Abusive for the trade?
On turn 1, I think you play the Flame Imp, because the only reason you would play the Creeper is if you wanted to trade with the Darnassus Aspirant, right?
Yeah,
But
and
the
either
Flame
way,
just trade
flame
with
it.
it anyways, and that way you don't float a mana possibly.
That's a good point.
And because in all the most recent lists, there just aren't Darnassus Aspirants being run recently.
Actually, a lot of a lot of early game for druids I've noticed have been kind of taken out.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working. I know Beast Mode, the father of the Vicious Syndicate organization, has he went about 27-2 today with a mid-range druid that had some of its early game taken out. I'm not gonna say what specifically. I don't know if he's trying to share, but
Okay. And the Shredder here though is really good from Void because it just lines up really well against the Imp game bosses, and you just like running the Imp game boss into the Shredder even with an abusive just doesn't feel that great. But this play walks really heavily into swipe, but BackInBlack just doesn't have any other way to really deal with the Shredder. But I wonder if you could save the Owl, play the Creeper, and then abusive, and then just run your Imp game boss into whatever pops out of the Shredder. And that way you're just a bit more resilient to the swipe, even though you walk a little bit more into like a big Shredder drop would be a little bit worse here for him.
yeah, I don't know.
He
For
doesn't-
once,
Whoa,
okay. Well, you know what?
that makes sense.
It does make sense because things will kind of get traded away anyway. Like, you're the zoo here, and sure, you like to dominate the board a bit, but in addition, you know, hitting face is dominating the board. Like, you got the board. None of your stuff is going away when you hit face.
Yeah,
Pretty swipe protectant, too, I'd say.
that makes a lot of sense because BackInBlack knows that Void doesn't have a 3-drop because he just passed on turn 3. So he's thinking if you're gonna attack into my Void Walker, I'm just gonna run my 2/1 into your Shredder next turn. And if you want to hero power the 2/1 to try to protect your Shredder, then that means you're not doing anything else since I know that you don't have a 3-drop.
Yeah,
So it's like a pretty in-depth read, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
But Void does have the Innervate now, so he could play the Druid of the Claw in taunt and then just hero power the 2/1 down, because he did just see he did just see BackInBlack try to play the game aggressively. Instead, he just played the Emperor.
So, is he... I mean, he's just aiming to combo early, right? At this point, is
I
Void
guess
just saying,
so.
now I need to top deck Innervate to win?
Yeah, I'm trying to
in addition, is BackInBlack even going to trade?
I think he's gonna silence the Shredder and then trade into it.
That would make sense.
It's just
but we have
not
seen
worth
the
it.
face.
Like, looking at this position, it's just not worth it to trade your whole board into the Emperor, right?
Yeah.
It sucks to let Emperor live, though.
It does, especially against Druid. That's really
Yeah.
tough.
But
Then you're
BackInBlack-
really vulnerable to swipe if you trade everything, though.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's a little bit too weak if you trade everything in. But BackInBlack does have the Loatheb to protect him against any of the spells that Void might discount in the next turn.
Which is crazy because that might actually save. It may very well save him the game.
Yeah. And Void is actually really close to lethal. I wouldn't even be surprised if he did something like Druid of the Claw Charge here.
Think so. Interesting. Well, Void's got to be thinking, can 9 extra damage kill me here, right? Because like if I get Doomguard power,
Yeah.
like
But that's
9 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 9 actually will kill him. So he might get nervous and throw it up in a taunt form.
well, he does have to. He could charge in hero power, right?
He could, or he could taunt in hero power,
Or he could just swipe.
He could do a lot of things. There are many things that Void can do. Which one is right? So he throws down swipe, and he just hits face. He doesn't even care. He's going for
Yeah,
lethal.
I think the Emperor definitely goes to face in this situation because your win condition is by just smart clicking him, right?
Yeah, by just comboing next turn. Like,
Oh, okay. And the reason that he didn't charge there was because the swipe's discounted, so he can play all of it in one turn now.
Oh wow, That is a good point.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Unfortunately, we might not see Void live long enough to be able to do that.
Well, the Druid of the Claw is just going to eat all of the power on the board up because the Imp Game Bosses. Are they really going to trade into the Emperor here? If BackInBlack is going to continue the line of play that he's been doing, he's just going to go face with everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even if, and since the power decreased so much because the Druid of the Claw ate so many of the minions up, I'm not sure if this will be enough for BackInBlack to survive. And yeah, I like the Keeper here over the Dr. Boom, actually. It sounds like the craziest thing in the world to say that.
What would you keep her?
Probably just the 2/2. Because you already have a lethal setup in hand, right? So you don't really need to develop more minions onto the board. All you have to do is survive this turn, and then if BackInBlack has doesn't have a taunt, then you just win.
That's a good point. In addition to, I mean, by keepering, you also have the mana to hero power, and so that's very helpful as well.
There's just no real reason for him to develop Boom. I guess if you develop Boom, makes it so you can survive against that. It makes it so you can beat a taunt. So Void needs to evaluate whether he's more scared of a taunt or if he's more scared of dying this turn. That's a big question for him.
Yeah, I think honestly you just trade 5/5s and then throw down the Keeper onto the 2/2 and oh.
Okay, yeah, this might. I guess this takes off more damage than Keeper does.
Does it?
But can he still play out his whole hand? Oh yeah, wait. Okay, yeah, so he still has a lethal setup.
Okay.
Okay, so that play makes a lot of sense. And as BackInBlack, he's... Yeah, I don't think you tap. Even though we know that if he doesn't tap and find a taunt, he's gonna die.
Yeah, he should probably just tap. I mean, 2 Thaurissan ticks, what do you expect to happen?
Yeah, but he's thinking about not tapping because even with 2 Emperor ticks, combo plus hero power is 15 damage. So he's going to tap to try to play around that. But there's also the Keeper from Void.
Yeah, unfortunately for BackInBlack, the read wasn't... Yeah, right.
But Void innovating out the Emperor worked out super well for him.
It really did. I mean, things looked really bad for Void. BackInBlack was up ahead. And,
I must safeguard the land.
Yeah,
so I forgot that he didn't attack with his face. I was like, is he too off? Hello? Didn't he have 16? Yeah,
even
so
if he was
Void...
off, he could have just traded, and then he could have traded and board cleared also if he was off.
Yeah, this is actually really big for Void because he just got his Druid win out of the way. I mean, now everything is just a tad, not to say that this is going to be free reverse sweep or free wins or anything, but everything is going to be just a tad easier for Void now to catch up.
Because Paladin versus Zoo is... It might be a little bit Zoo favored, but it's not... Like, at most it would be maybe 5%. And then Shaman versus Zoo is... It's also, in theory, Zoo favored, but Shaman can also always get those crazy Eternal Trog Totem Golem hands.
Yeah, and that's just Void.
A Sea Giant in BackInBlack's deck also.
Okay, well, it's not too... Like, it doesn't deviate too far from what's standard right now, but it's definitely not the most common. Interesting. Void... Oh, okay, well, I mean, Void's hand isn't awful.
It's not
but it has
amazing, but yeah, I think it's not bad. But BackInBlack's hand is
better.
Really good. Yeah. The Nerubian Egg into Power Overwhelming is what wins through this matchup. It's just so ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, BackInBlack sets up for it right away.
Right away, yeah, because I mean that Totem Golem gets thrown down and you can just do it right then and there, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. You float a mana, but you're developing a 4/4 and taking off a 3/4. You're never upset with that.
It's like a 2 mana mind control. You just basically take it. You want it, you have it.
And suddenly, BackInBlack looks super far ahead.
Yeah, Void's deck is reminding me of what will... Not reminding me, it's kind of warning me of what will happen when standard mode hits. Having Wolf Riders and Aggro Shaman instead of Crackles, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility for the standard decks that we're going to see.
Yeah, Void is just not having the best of luck. It's not too bad, but it looks like he has to trade if he wants to live.
Especially since he overloaded last turn.
Mm-hmm.
Get in there, fight, maggot!
That trade from the healing totem is actually pretty nice. If he
Yeah.
does end up
Yeah.
trading, I think he will. Yes, right there. It is.
Yeah, the healing totem doesn't do anything on this board.
Yeah, definitely. He just has 1 health, and that's all he has in his hand. But oh wow, that Defender of Argus gets drawn, and things just start
Yeah.
seeming more and more one-sided. I mean, BackInBlack can easily clear this off just juggles.
Yeah, I definitely like Juggles over the Argus this turn. You need to be a little bit patient with the Argus. You can't just... You have to take control of board earlier before you try to stabilize with the cards like Defender of Argus. Oh, but the Juggle missing is a pretty
Ah.
big deal.
That is a big deal. I mean, now the Knife Juggler is going to be able to die. Let's see if this helps. Oh, and it hits face
Oh.
again. So,
Double face.
the Argent Horse Rider will not only stay alive, but he will thrive inside his little bubble.
Yeah, and I think he's... I bet he's just going to go face again. And yeah, I think this is just a Lava Shock into double face thing.
Lava Shock into... Yeah, seems nice. It just feels bad because, you know, you're turn 5, you don't have a new hero power, and you barely have anything in hand, whereas BackInBlack just has everything you could ask for. I mean, sure, he's in a slightly tight position, but it's easing up really quickly.
Yeah, the Defender of Argus, I think, is just going to pretty much win the game for him.
I agree. The second he stops this face train is the second he just wins.
Yeah, and I don't think you could in this too. That's just too expensive. Spending 6 damage on doing 2 power minion.
Same. No, actually, I didn't quite hear what you said. What?
Oh, going face there, I definitely like over trading into the 2. Because
Yeah.
that way you get to get 6 damage to face, and it's not worth it to clear off the 2 power minion.
Yeah. Geez, it's so that heal. I mean, not heal. That silence is pretty solid. What's it called? But it just doesn't seem like Void has enough unless he top decks like an Ancestral Knowledge or something. It seems like he's about to get blown out.
Even if he drew like a Doomhammer here, I don't even think that would be good enough because he's just so far behind in the race since BackInBlack has 10 damage on board at this point.
Yeah, does it pay just rolling spell power and hitting face?
Spell power. Oh, that's really important.
Okay. He has a chance. And now it just has to roll 7.
Good ordering.
Okay, it rolled 7.
Well played.
How does he... Can he win from here?
I mean, if he top decks another Crackle and just rolls
Yes.
more.
He has to top deck a lava... a Ancestral Knowledge, right?
Yeah.
He's thinking about just doing the Lava Shock to face and thinking about when that's relevant. And I think you do the Lava Shock to face so that you can do like Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt, or something like that.
Yeah, because the difference would be
Since you just,
Lava
you just
Burst
Little
kill.
time.
Or
Since-
Rock Fighter.
it's a weird choice. Because like this, you kind of scare BackInBlack into trading also, and that might give you an extra turn to draw damage. And what could this peddler give?
Oh my gosh, it's a power overwhelming. I just sat there in silence trying to think.
That's still not enough, though.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, it's not enough. And
But you will make it-
my other argument would have been completely irrelevant had I said, "Oh, you could just tap and you'll be fine." Hee hee. But no, I guess he cannot tap and be fine. But it definitely helps. Now he can easily
Oh, the
not kill him next turn.
Feral Spirits provides another turn for Void.
And
Along with the Taunt Totem, but he's still not any closer to actually killing BackInBlack off.
Jeez, the
And
real
that's the
question
worst part.
is Void the luckiest Hearthstone player alive right now? Can he do the impossible and just Ancestral's Knowledge 2 spells to win this?
And it's not any 2 spells. It has to be
So many possibilities.
Lava Burst and Crackle, right? Or Lava Burst, Lava Burst. Or he
Yeah.
can't. He doesn't have the mana to Ancestral Knowledge Lava Burst now because he's overloaded. So it has to be Ancestral Knowledge into Crackle. Oh, but Back in Black taps.
Ooh, why did he tap?
Why? Yeah, why?
Well,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't-
not necessarily sure I agree with that one. And in addition, I just wanted to point out that that silence on the air totem was pretty cool because
Yeah.
now that means another air totem cannot get summoned.
Definitely. I really like that play. But I don't understand the tap at all there because he had lethal set up anyways. Yeah, he had lethal set up anyways, right?
Oh man.
So another turn will pass without lethal.
Back in Black is just getting upset.
He's getting impatient here.
Yeah, he just wants to win. I mean,
Another-
please tell me he's not gonna tap again.
No, there's no way you tap now because then you're directly in range of a lava burst.
Yeah. Now, has Void Ancestral Knowledge this game?
I don't believe so.
There is a 1 in 18 chance. No, wait, if he didn't do it, then 1 in 9 chance.
But he also has to get the burn.
Yeah, it's a very low chance. Let's see if he gets it.
Oh,
Oh,
he
and it's a leper gnome, exactly what he did not need. Unfortunately, Void does not win this one, and Back in Black takes the 3-1. Although that druid turnaround seemed like the start of a reverse sweep, it was quickly ended when Back in Black put his foot down again with Zoo, stomping Void out of the competition.
Yeah, and we saw really similar lineups from both sides, and we saw really strong druid play from Void. But I think in the Secret Paladin versus Shaman matchups both times, Void just had the slightly worse hand, and Back in Black executed his slightly better hand very well, and just took the games.
Just goes to show that the slightly luckier player is always going to win, right?
Well, Back in Black he executed his hands, his slightly better hands very well though.
Yeah, no, it was a very good display of skill from both these players, and good for Back in Black. He's going to advance to the finals that we will cast after we watch the semifinals here with Newbie and Topomaster. We'll be right back to cast those guys.